Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name's Erin, I'm Queen Bee Tarot, and today we're going to be doing a reading, which is a roadmap for the lost, the weary, the overwhelmed, the stressed. Sometimes when we feel like we're stuck in a loop or life is just ridiculously hard, we start to question everything. We question whether or not we're on the right path, whether or not we're doing the right thing. Should we make some changes? Should we wait things out? I'm here to help. Today's reading is intended to be a timeless reading, and so whenever you find this reading, trust that it's the right time to hear the message that you needed to hear today. So I have 4 piles to choose from, and I've chosen some random objects. Pile number 1, whoops. Pile number 1 is a shell. Pile number 2 is a mustache mood ring. Pile number 3 is a gold coin. And pile number 4 is a key. Choose whichever pile you feel most drawn to, the shell, the mustache mood ring, the coin, or the key. Whichever one you feel most drawn to, the timestamps are below in the description box, and I will see you at your reading. Hello, pile 1. You guys chose the shell. It's a little tiny spiral conch shell. And the topic of today's reading is, am I on the right path? Where do I go from here? This reading is intended to be a roadmap for the lost, the weary, the stressed out, the wondering. So if you feel like you're stuck in a rut, if you're questioning your choices, if you're questioning everything and wondering, where do I go from here? Today's reading is intended to be a timeless reading, bringing through whatever messages you need to hear right now for your highest good. So we're going to start with a modified Celtic cross. And Spirit Team, please tap us into our pile number 1s, the collective that chose the shell. What do my pile 1s need to know about their situation? Please show me where they're at. Tap me into the collective of my pile number 1s and the energy around them. What are my pile 1s letting go of? And what are my pile 1s moving into? What do their spirit teams, spirit guides see about their bigger picture? And what is the path, the roadmap laid out for them as they move forwards? Ooh, okay. So pile 1s, at the bottom of the deck, what I have here is the 4 of Wands. We're using the Rider-Waite deck, the Rider-Waite Smith. And the 4 of Wands, out of all 78 cards, I always refer to it as my yes card, because it's a card of celebration and joy and bringing our fire, our inspiration into reality. The 4 of Wands is also a card that depicts a wedding, and there's tiny people in the background. And what's significant about this card, I say this a lot when I pull this card for clients, is we want people in our lives that treat us like a main character. But not all of our relationships are healthy or balanced or even feeling very good. And so what's coming through is a question of, am I in the right place? Are the people in my life the right people in my life? Another metaphor that I use is not just looking at, do people treat me like a main character, or are people treating me like an extra, as if I don't matter? But the other part is a metaphor for life. So sometimes I use this metaphor that we all kind of have a lifeboat. And we don't want people in our lifeboat, another metaphor, that are drilling holes, creating a flood, creating a leak. Because sometimes we have people in our lifeboat and it makes us feel like we're weighed down, like it's just so much more extra work to get where we're going, because maybe there's holes in our lifeboat. Maybe we have people in our life that are drilling holes in our lifeboat and we're constantly having to bail out the water, whether it's emotional overwhelm, whether it's stress, whether it's having people in our lives that are pulling us backwards. Maybe they're triggering us. Maybe we're lost in unhealthy patterns or unhealthy energies, ways of living. But I'm definitely getting a sense that you're questioning whether or not you're surrounded by the right people. And sometimes we're really, really reluctant to make any kind of changes as far as the people in our lives because we question, would I be giving something away that maybe I really need? Or am I being too harsh? Or we really sometimes also question our self-worth. Well, what if this is the best it's going to be? And so sometimes when our self-worth or our self-confidence isn't very high, we're more likely to have people in our lives that maybe don't treat us very well. Maybe they treat us like an extra instead of a main character. Maybe we have people in our lives that are genuinely causing harm. But again, it's not unless we have self-confidence or self-love that we say, hey, this is not okay. I deserve better. So that's the initial thing that's coming through, is a question of not just where you're at, but who you have around you. So the very first card that I pulled is the Six of Wands. So again, there's an energy of fire. There's an energy of life force. Do you feel as though your life force is sustained? Or do you feel as though maybe you have some energy vampires in your life that are kind of sucking the life out of you? You know, life is hard enough without having energy vampires in our lives, or people taking and taking and taking instead of giving, right? And that's what I feel. I feel like you are on a really good path. In the Six of Wands, we have somebody arriving and they're being greeted by a cheering crowd. And it's all about the energy that we bring to a situation. This person in the card is riding on a white horse, and the white horse has a green cloak around it. So this is telling me that in general, where you're at and the path that you're walking is healthy. It's of purity. It's of trying to do your best. And you in particular are very, very mindful of the energy that you bring to a situation. But the energy around you is not as flowing, not as compassionate, not as gentle or nourishing as you really, really need. I have the King of Swords representing the energy around you. And that would tell me that, you know, for some of you, this represents that you have someone in your life that makes you question everything. Maybe they make you feel bad. Maybe they're really, really critical. Maybe you're trying to flow and be dynamic and be your free spirit self. And perhaps there's somebody in your life that's like, oh my God, that's so ridiculous. Or you're too sensitive, or you're too weird. Or I get a sense that the energy around you is coming into conflict with the energy inside of you. And so then there's this energy of questioning. Are you on the right path? Is this person correct? Now, if this doesn't represent a person for you, it could also be the sense that life in general feels really rigid or restrictive. And maybe there's a sense of, I don't belong here, wherever here is for you. When I compare these two about where you're at, Six of Wands, and what you're surrounded by, King of Swords, definitely suggests that on an energetic level, you want to be out of the situation that you're in. But whether it's life, whether it's a person, whether it's a boss, something or someone is making you feel like you shouldn't be looking for better anywhere else. Maybe life or a person or a job is making you feel like you're expecting too much. And I'm here to tell you, you're not expecting too much. There's something really amazing and glowing about your energy, but someone or something is making you question your self-worth. I do want to tell you, with the King of Swords energy here, it definitely brings through this feeling. I'm being made to feel as though you're wasting time trying to get this person or get life to understand you. And it's coming through as an unnecessary expensive energy. Don't bother explaining yourself to someone who is bound and determined to see things a different way, right? Communication is part of it, but comprehension is the other part of it. And sometimes people are either unwilling or unable to see things from our perspective. And if we waste our lives trying to explain things to them, or perhaps to meet their standards, we're missing out on some valuable life opportunities. So the obstacle around you is that you're having a really hard time making a life-changing decision that's going to get you out of this feeling of being stuck. And maybe you're even being told that you're asking too much. Maybe you're being told that what you want is not possible. I feel like there's a dream buster in your life. And again, it could be a person, it could be a boss, it could be just life in general that's making you, maybe it's making you question your true nature. Maybe it's making you question your dreams or your energy or your flow. And so the obstacle here is that you want to make a life-changing decision, indicated by the Judgment card. But if your decision involves, for example, leaving a person like this, perhaps what you're hearing in response is that you're being too judgmental. And so I feel you questioning again, like, I really want to make a change, but is it inappropriate for me to want this? I also have the Hanged Man card for you, which is about feeling really, really stuck. And I also feel like you've been spending a great deal of time trying your best to see things from their perspective or see things from a different perspective. I feel you really questioning this inner process of yours, and you're holding yourself back. There is a path opening up for you that's going to be joyous and prosperous and free, but you're holding yourself back and you're wondering if you should make this decision. So what you're being invited to let go of is all the work that you do to hold things in balance at the expense of your emotional and spiritual health. We've got the Two of Pentacles here, again indicating that for some of you, you have taken on a lot, whether or not it's willing, at work, that your hands are really full, you have way too many responsibilities and not enough pay, and you're really struggling, like really, really, really struggling. For some of you, you're in a very imbalanced relationship where you're willing to do the work, but the person you're with is not, and they're saying, nope, I don't have to change, it's you that has to change. And I see you taking on all the work in a relationship to hold things in balance, and at the same time, your energy is being drained, your heart's not into it anymore, and there's a sense of your emotions really being a roller coaster right now. So like I said, for some of you, this situation that you're really not stoked about, it could be a job, it could be a relationship, it could be life in general. But I see you working and working and working and working, trying to make things better. And there's a sense of you just wanting more than anything to give up. The other thing I wanted to mention, and this just popped into my head, I recently heard someone say, don't set yourself on fire to help other people stay warm. So for some of you, that's what's coming through as a message that you really need to hear right now. Don't set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. Again, whether it's a professional situation, whether it's a romantic situation, you're doing way more than your fair share of work, and it's not okay. The bigger picture that your guides and angels can see is that an ending is inevitable. The Death card comes up when something is about to slam shut like a door, or a chapter is about to close, or a light switch is about to turn off. There's a massive change, a massive ending that is coming. And sometimes when we can sense this change, or we can sense this closure or ending in the air, there's a lot of anxiety or anticipation and stress as we can sense this thing happening, but we're holding ourselves back from making that final decision or making that final call. But your guides already see that an ending is inevitable. I also have the Page of Cups here telling me that deep down inside, your heart knows that an ending is inevitable. But when I see the Page of Cups, that tells me that quite possibly your inner child is really, really triggered right now. So whatever this situation is, like I said, a person, maybe it's a friendship, maybe it's a lover, maybe it's a job, maybe it's just life in general, you have experienced this feeling before. You've experienced it maybe in your childhood, maybe in your early adult life, and in previous experiences, you were made to feel as if you were the problem. And so that's your autopilot. You're thinking, oh, I must be the problem. Maybe I shouldn't make a change. Maybe wanting to leave, maybe wanting change is too much to ask. Maybe it's inappropriate. So your inner child, I just want to bring this up, your inner child is really, really triggered right now. But if you can think as far back as possible in your life, when was the first time, or when were other times that you felt this way? That you were made to feel as if you were the problem, and you were made to feel as though you were supposed to tolerate this discomfort. But definitely on an intuitive level, on a heart level, you can feel that this is not okay with you. And so if you're looking for permission to leave, I am giving you permission to leave. Your guides and angels are seeing that an end is inevitable. So go ahead and give yourself permission to create that ending. The future that you have to look forward to, the path that is opening up for you, I have the Fool. And this is a really, really good card. And it's funny that it's called the Fool, because from an outside perspective, it definitely seems like someone or something is going to call you foolish for wanting change. But the Fool is the card that the whole tarot deck is based off of. The whole major arcana is called the Journey of the Fool. And in the grand scheme of things, we have all been fools at some point. But the idea is that when we embrace the energy of the Fool, we are becoming, as the Taoists would say, an uncarved block. How can I embrace life in a way that creates a fresh start, a clean slate? What's coming through is that you've had way too much on your shoulders for far too long. You're exhausted. You've been working yourself to the bone, whether it's professionally or in a relationship. You're exhausted. And what I see in your future is this immense relief as you let go and say, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not carrying this burden anymore. I'm not going to drag this load behind me anymore. Or if the case may be, maybe somebody's drilling holes in your lifeboat. I see you kicking someone off of your lifeboat in an act of self-preservation. You have to put yourself first sometimes. In life, you have to live with your choices, not someone else. And what I see opening up for you is a future in which you feel free, you feel rejuvenated, you feel as if you've reclaimed your life force, your heart, your headspace, your energy, just everything about you going, yes. I see amazing things in your future. And what I'm being told is it's going to take action on your part to say no to whatever it is that's bringing you down or sucking the life out of you. So whether it's breaking up with someone, whether it's letting go of a toxic friendship, whether it's leaving a job that is sucking the life out of you, there's definitely an indication here that the judgment, the decision is yours to make. And nobody else is going to make it for you. No one's going to lift you up to get you into the life that you belong. It's that Ace of Base song. The path that you're walking is really interesting. And again, I feel, for some of you, this is about a professional situation like a job. But for some of you, this is definitely about a relationship. And what I see in your recent past is the Eight of Swords. And I'm going to be super, super honest with you guys. This card comes up 9 times out of 10 when someone is in an abusive relationship. Typically represents emotionally or verbally abusive, but it could be all encompassing. It represents being stuck in a mental prison and feeling powerless, feeling like you don't know what to do. Maybe you've been walking on eggshells, trying so hard to avoid any further pain. Now, again, because I pulled the Page of Cups indicating that your inner child is at play here, it could be the kind of thing where you were programmed in your life to tolerate abuse, to tolerate discomfort, to tolerate situations that suck the life out of you. And so for you, this is going to be incredibly transformative to really reclaim your power and take it into your own hands to create a life that you don't have to run from. What I see in your present moment is the Emperor, which is choices, it's action, it's claiming your space, it's leaving behind anything or anyone that is sucking the life out of you. The Emperor is associated with Aries and the planet Mars. Definitely all about taking action, taking control over your situation, and giving yourself permission to make that change or to close that door or close that chapter. And then what I see unfolding for you as a result of you reclaiming your power, I have the Lover's card. And I want to point out that the two people in the Lover's card are naked. And in the context of tarot, anytime we see nakedness, it represents being our authentic self, that we are safe to be vulnerable. We are safe to totally just be our glorious selves. And the reason they're not wearing clothes is because they don't feel like they have to protect themselves. This card represents having personal or possibly professional relationships in your life in which you feel appreciated, admired, where you feel safe and you feel completely free to be yourself, and to channel whatever your unique energy is in this lifetime. So whether you're letting go of a toxic friendship, a toxic relationship, or perhaps even a toxic job, just on the other side of this life-changing decision that you're about to make, I see incredible things. And it feels a lot like, almost like a final boss. Like this has been a karmic pattern for you for quite some time. And for you to make this life-changing decision right now is going to open up a whole new life for you, because you're going to be closing a karmic chapter. You're going to be leaving behind a lesson and going, okay, I've got this lesson this time. I don't need to learn it again. Now I see. And what you are being invited to see is that the only person who is going to put your needs first, the only person who's really going to validate your experience is you. And if you don't validate your experience, if you don't claim your power, validate your emotions and make changes, nobody else is going to do it for you. So what I'm being shown is that this change is inevitable, and I'm really, really, really excited for you. So give yourself permission to be free. Give yourself permission to have a clean slate. The final advice that we're going to bring through today is from the Osho Zen deck. I'm going to shuffle here, and Spirit Team, please tap me into the collective of my pile number ones, and any final messages that they need to hear right now for their highest good. What do my pile ones need to hear right now? Awesome. So at the bottom of the deck here, I have compromise, which is telling me again that you've worked really, really, really hard to hear other people's perspective. You've worked really, really hard already to see another point of view, to tolerate this discomfort, to try and be whoever they wanted you to be, or to not feel your feelings too much. I really, really feel that you have worked really, really hard to compromise, but in the end you got nothing out of it. You ended up feeling more drained and more disappointed with your situation. So the time for compromise is done. The time for seeing your situation in another way is done. That time is past. In your period of isolation that you are coming out of, you have become a master of yourself. You have done so much inner work and inner transformation that you have mastered. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Somebody's dog is barking, and I really hope that's not bothering you guys. You guys have mastered yourself. You've been through this lesson so many times. You see it. You see it clearly. And the final step for you is to give yourself permission to create a better life. I see that you've been suffering in silence for quite some time, and it's time to let that go. It's time to come out of your shell and be your bright and beautiful self. And that's what I see in the present. We have a card called We Are the World, and we have a card called the Creator. So there's an energy of taking control of your fire, taking control of your life and your life force, and birthing a new way of living. A new way of living that is inclusive. A new way of living that honors your integrity, that supports your life to be whatever incredible, unique way that you want to live your life. That you weren't meant to fit into a box. You weren't meant to be told how to live or what to feel or what to think. And this energy of repression is going to be left in the past as you create a whole brand new beautiful life for yourself, in which your life force is going to come back tenfold. There's going to be a feeling of this huge burden being lifted off of your shoulders, and your energy returning, your love returning, your inner peace returning. And the final card I have for you is change. This is the equivalent of the Wheel of Fortune. It is time for you to get behind the steering wheel of your life and choose a direction that feels good to you, no matter what anybody else says. Don't listen to anybody else. Listen to your heart, because that's where you're going to find the answers that you need to hear right now. So I do hope that this helped. I hope that it resonated with you and gave you the clarity that you were hoping for today. I wish you all the best. Mwah! Make sure to like and subscribe so you're updated with all my videos, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye. Hi Pile 2, welcome to your reading. You chose the Moustache Mood Ring, and today we're going to be looking at a roadmap for your life. If you're feeling weary, exhausted, stressed out, stuck in a rut, and really wondering if you're on the right path, and maybe if you're not on the right path, what could you do to better your situation, this reading is for you. It's meant to be timeless, so trust that whenever you see this, it's the right time for you to receive a message from your guides and angels. So Spirit Team, please tie me into the collective of my pile number 2s, the pile that chose the Moustache Mood Ring. And they would like to know, first off, are they on the right path? And how are they growing as a result of their current situation? What is the bigger picture you guys can see? What are my pile number 2s leaving behind? Please tap into the collective of my pile number 2s, the pile that chose the Moustache Mood Ring. What are they leaving behind? What is this path asking of them? We forgot to pull an obstacle. Okay. So I'm just going to have a look at the cards that I pulled for you guys. Okay. So I feel you being stuck, but I feel it more as a chosen stuck. It's an interesting energy coming through. Let's go through this together. So at the bottom of the deck, we have the Hanged Man, which represents feeling stuck. And pictured is someone upside down. They have a halo over their head and their hands are behind their back. Now, this picture is a reference to Odin from Nordic mythology, who hung upside down from the tree of Yggdrasil and essentially achieved enlightenment. And I'm totally paraphrasing here, but the idea is that sometimes if we find ourselves stuck and we're able to kind of shift our perspective, like how he's upside down, a moment of realization can really click for us that we go, okay, now I see it. Now I understand what life was trying to teach me in this moment. So at the moment, I am seeing that you are being invited to not make any major changes, to not cut and run, to sit with what you have and look at it from another perspective. If you're feeling stuck right now, which is definitely what's coming through, I'm being made to feel as if there's a karmic reason, that there's a realization that you haven't hit yet. There's something that you are meant to see that is slowly being presented to you, which I do feel as though as soon as you see it, as soon as you get it and feel it, then a path will open up in front, but not before then. That there is nowhere else for you to go yet, because there's something you're meant to realize. So let's go deeper into this. The first card that I pulled for you was the Devil. And what we have in the Devil card is a sense that we have chosen, on some level, we've chosen to be stuck because we're going to get something out of it. Now, sometimes this card can represent when we feel like we're a slave to our jobs, or maybe we're stuck in a cycle of addiction. Maybe we feel spiritually or emotionally empty and we're trying to fill it or meet our needs with things that aren't really meeting our needs. And so there's a sense of feeling empty, feeling disconnected from life force. What's coming through right now is a sense that you've lost your spiritual way. And whether, if for some of you, it's because life is so hard that you have lost sight of magic. For some of you, grief, frustration, crisis, trauma, drama, the heaviness of life has brought you to a place of losing touch with your spiritual connection. Maybe you drifted away from your church. Maybe you kind of fell out of whatever meditation practice or spiritual practice you used to have. And maybe there's a sense of feeling angry with spirit, or feeling like, well, magic isn't real. And I feel you having a lower vibration than what you're truly capable of. And sometimes, like I said, sometimes we've lowered our vibration on purpose because we're trying to achieve something. So for some of you, the idea is that you have sacrificed your freedom in order to make a lot of money. Maybe you have taken on a long-term project or a long-term job, but you know at the end of it that you're going to get a pay raise, or you're going to get benefits, or there's some sort of goal that's just out of reach, and so you're tolerating a great deal of discomfort in order to achieve that. For some of you, you're in an unhealthy relationship that the magic is gone, and it's been gone for a long time, but you've convinced yourself that you have to stay. Maybe you need to stay in this partnership because of financial reasons. Maybe you need to stay in this partnership for other reasons. But there's a sense of you could walk away at any point, but I don't feel like the time is right. There's a realization or a point of awakening that you're meant to achieve, and you're almost there, but it hasn't happened yet. The energy around you, the Ace of Pentacles, would definitely suggest that for a lot of you, this is a financial commitment. This is perhaps a job that you took on because you knew that it was going to be the paycheck that you needed. Maybe it's a new position. I'm being told that some of you moved to take on a job, and this is the job that you landed with because, and it's serving a purpose because it was a paycheck, it was a fresh start, it was a way to kind of get your foot in the door, but you're not especially excited about it. And so I feel your eyes being on the horizon, like, okay, what else is out there? For some of you, it's a sense of you've been in a job for a really long time, and you're waiting for that promotion, or you're waiting for that raise. For some of you, there's an energy of learning a new skill or perfecting one that you already have. Maybe you're in school, maybe you're training. And again, the energy around you is of a new beginning and bringing into your life financial prosperity. That's definitely the message here. But when I see that the Fool is an obstacle for you, that's telling me that you have, in order to achieve this financial goal, you've sacrificed your freedom, you've sacrificed your happiness. There's a sense of not vibrating as high as you would like to, that you've had to kind of lower your vibration in order to just get something done. Now, for some of you, there is a sense of having lost your way with your health. So whether you're addicted to a substance, maybe it's drinking, maybe it's drugs, maybe it's smoking, maybe you've got a food addiction, maybe it's gambling or sex or something like that. For some of you, you've really lost your way, and the opening up that is waiting for you is to realize that all the ways in which you're trying to fill this emptiness inside of you, none of those ways are working and none of those ways are healthy. So whatever has caused you to lose your spark, whatever has caused you to lose your freedom, again, I feel like the path moving forwards hasn't opened up for you yet, but let's look at all the details coming through. So in the recent past here, I see you having taken on extra responsibility, whether it is an extra job, whether it's taking on more responsibilities within the one job that you have. Weird. I'm being told that some of you have taken on extra responsibilities. Maybe you've taken an extra child into your house. Maybe you have taken an extra pet into your home. I feel you working really hard to take care of other people, but you're not taking care of yourself. And again, this is not a sustainable situation. I feel you hoping for a light at the end of the tunnel, and there definitely is one, but it's not in the now, it's in the future. I see a lot of you really have your hands full, and there's a question of, how do I get out of this? I need to pay my bills. I need to take care of these things or these people. I feel you being a caretaker and really pushing your needs to the side because there are other things that you see as a higher priority. Now, the bigger picture that your guides and angels see is that change is in the air. And I feel with the Eight of Wands here, like the arrow is just about to hit the target, that you're about to receive long-awaited word. Maybe you're about to receive that promotion. Maybe you've been taking on extra work because somebody's been out of the office and you had to take on extra responsibility. In that case, you're waiting for that person to return. The bigger picture that your guides and angels can see, that they really want you to know, is that you're almost there. So don't give up. Yes, you have to tolerate this discomfort for a little bit longer, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. The other thing that your guides and angels can see is that there is a learning opportunity in front of you. And sometimes when we're really, really stressed out or overwhelmed, we just kind of go la, 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 la to everything. But if you're able to introduce a meditation or somehow like a mindfulness or spiritual practice into your life, I promise you it's going to make a world of a difference. I don't know if you've heard this joke before, but a monk said, we should meditate 20 minutes a day. And if you're too busy, you should meditate for an hour. Which seems counterintuitive, but sometimes we talk ourselves out of really important, nourishing practices like meditation because we say that we're too busy. But what I'm being told is that if you're able to shift your energy into an energy of being open, having your eyes open, having your mind open, having your heart open, and meditation is the quickest way to do that, that you're going to be able to see your situation from another perspective, and that's going to be the beginning of the opening of your exit door. The Eight of Swords here, again, is pointing to a sense that you've really got your blinders on. And universe, spirit, God, the force is trying to help you be grateful. Whether it is to be grateful for this opportunity that you have, or maybe universe is just trying to get you to be grateful for a butterfly or a flower or a nice day. An energy of gratitude, an energy of being open and receiving is really, really, really going to help catalyze an internal change that needs to happen right now. So I feel you having been stuck for long enough that you're starting to see it as a permanent way of being, and that's not the case. Everything is in flux. I see major changes up ahead, but I feel as though you've given up hope. Maybe you're telling yourself, this is the way it is. There's no magic. There's no hope. I'm always going to suffer. Life is always going to suck. Something along those lines. That inside of your headspace is not a very safe space. And if you're able to prioritize mental health, again, I can't recommend meditation enough. I'm sorry to really keep tooting that horn, but if you're able to shift your headspace, then your entire life is going to take a different meaning. But if inside of your head, you're really running a negative thought loop, anything along the lines of like, I suck, life sucks, they suck, everything sucks. If you're in a really negative thought loop, that is a huge, huge, huge part of your problem. The Eight of Swords also tells me, it's a card that I pull 9 times out of 10 when somebody's in an abusive relationship. But rather than feeling like somebody else is abusing you, like verbally or emotionally, in this situation, I feel like you're abusing yourself. There's something about your internal dialogue, how you think about yourself, how you perceive your situation, how you talk to yourself. There's something in your headspace that is making your situation far worse than it needs to be. And I know that if we're in a really crappy headspace, the suggestion of be grateful, like, you might be like, whatever, that's just BS. And I get it. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been in a really, really crappy place in my life, and a suggestion of gratitude or meditation would have made me livid. Like, whatever. That is seriously the last thing I want to hear right now. But I'm here to tell you that that's exactly what your guides and angels are suggesting. Make peace with your situation. Make peace with the choices that you've made. Make peace with the karma that you're playing out. Instead of fighting your reality, you're being invited to accept it. This is my reality. And maybe it would help to create gratitude from a place of comparison. Well, at least I have a roof over my head. At least I have a job that I can go to. At least I'm this side of the ground. You know, old age is a privilege denied to many. There's something about your situation where a negative perspective is making it very hard for you to see the exit door. What has been leading to this situation is, this is going to be interesting. I don't know what you're going to think about this, but your guides want you to know that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. The Six of Wands tells me victory, success, and very positive momentum. If you have recently made a choice and you're wondering, oh my God, was that the right decision? The answer is yes. Whatever decision you just made, yes, it is a positive direction. If you're wondering, am I bringing the right energy to this situation? Keep asking yourself that, because the energy that we bring to a situation is what sets the tone for our experience. So, for example, if you start your day and as soon as you roll out of bed, you're like, grumble, 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 you have officially ruined your own day. But if you can roll out of bed and notice, you know what, I'm aware of feeling really grumpy right now. I'm aware of feeling really, really not stoked about my life right now. Take that moment to sip your coffee or your tea really, really slowly and meditate. Just try and spend 2 to 5 minutes naming things that you're grateful for, whether it's fuzzy socks or a hot shower or a sunny day. But the energy that you bring to your situation is kind of what's going to make or break your mental health, your spiritual health, your emotional health. But that being said, your guides and angels want you to know that you are on the right path. You are. It's just a really challenging chapter that you're moving through right now. So the more that you can practice self-awareness, the more that you can step out of a role of being your own worst enemy, that is what's going to make the situation better. And I know it's way easier said than done, but this is the message that's coming through, is that your perspective is one of the biggest things that's making this harder than it needs to be. Where you're at right now is that your mind is racing. You're thinking about decisions that you have just made or the direction that you're going in, and you're thinking, am I ever going to catch a break? Are things ever going to get better? Am I going to receive word that I've gotten that promotion, or that somebody else is going to take some of this workload off my hands? Knight of Swords tells me that your mind is racing. You're kind of in panic mode. You're really stressed out. And the Three of Wands tells me that you're hoping and waiting for change or relief of some sort. When I see the Three of Wands, it is not only confirming that you're waiting for an improvement, but it's also a validation that improvement or relief in whatever form you need is on the way. It just isn't here yet, but it's right around the corner. Like I said, the best thing you can possibly do for yourself right now is make peace with your situation. If you're arguing with reality, if you're arguing with yourself, if you're shaking your fist at God, you're missing an opportunity in your life to see things from a different way or love yourself through a period of struggle. So please make peace with your situation. An exit door, a relief, a positive turn of events is literally around the corner. So the bigger picture about your future that your guides and angels see right now is that you're going through crazy emotional upheaval. And if you are struggling with fear of not being capable or not being enough, or maybe you're afraid that you don't deserve peace. Maybe you're afraid that you're being made to struggle because maybe you think you did something to deserve it. I'm being told to tell you, sometimes life just sucks. And yes, sometimes past life karma plays into it. Sometimes our crappy situation is the result of crappy choices that we made before. Yes, but we can't go backwards. The only thing we can do is move forwards. And so right here, right now, allow your emotions to come up and see what you can do to heal whatever part of you feels like maybe you're meant to suffer, because it's not the case at all. There's a lot of emotions of fear coming through, and we've got two dogs. One is a domesticated dog and one is a wolf. And so there's an element of like your light side and your shadow side are really battling right now. But there are pillars in the background of the moon card indicating that transformation is just up ahead. And this transformation that awaits you is a period of initiation. And you're not going to be able to embrace this change or step through that exit door into a much happier, more peaceful life if you keep making yourself miserable. So whatever's happening inside of your head is essentially the greatest obstacle to you enjoying your life. So let those feelings come up. Journal. Maybe, talk to a therapist, talk to a counselor, draw, sing, scream and yell, dance, whatever you need to do to acknowledge the feelings that are coming up. But instead of letting yourself drown in those emotions, try your best to get them out of you. Write your emotions down. That's why creative work of any sort is really, really recommended when we're dealing with intense emotions, because otherwise they stay stuck in our body and we feel like we're drowning. Sometimes we get sick. So that's what I'm feeling, is that there is a well of emotions that needs to come out of you. But also making peace with your situation in a way that doesn't perpetuate a victim mentality. Sometimes in life we genuinely are victims, but sometimes we look at our situations and go, oh my God, everything sucks. Why is everything always so hard for me? And it may be true that your life has been consistently hard, absolutely. But again, fighting against reality or or seeing yourself as a victim is never going to help things get better. So what I see opening up for you in your future is I see you mastering your mental health, but I also see you learning something from your situation. Whether it is an opportunity to see your life in a different way, maybe for some of you it's an opportunity to expand your skill set or use the skills you have in a new way that maybe you haven't before. I feel like some of you are really learning on the job. Some of you have taken on a second job to be able to make ends meet. Definitely kind of the biggest thing happening is about how you use your skills in this lifetime and whether or not you feel as though you are adequately compensated or valued for your time, your energy, and your expertise. There's definitely a growth opportunity here for you. And as soon as you clear out your headspace, as soon as you can transform that feeling of being angry into a feeling of being grateful, and again, I know it's way easier said than done, but this is the message that's coming through. If you're able to clear out your headspace with meditation, with gratitude, whatever it is, that's when I see things changing. And the Wheel of Fortune indicates finally feeling as though life is going in a direction that you're happy with. And sometimes in life, like what I see for you, is that for the time being, you feel like life is happening to you. And you're doing your absolute best to work with what you've got. And sometimes we just don't have very much to work with, right? But you're doing your best to work with what you've got. The final piece is what you think about yourself and what you think about your situation. And when that shifts, when you're able to shift your headspace, that's when your entire life is going to change. I see you being able to release some heavy emotions that you've carried with you, maybe for years, maybe for decades, maybe your entire life. I see you being able to come into a place where you are at peace with yourself and at peace with your situation, and finally feeling like you're free in a way that you're not stuck in a box or stuck in a dead-end job, or, you know, maybe you feel as though your life is just like wake up in the morning, go to work until you're dead tired, go to bed, sleep, wake up. Like if your life is only working, or you just don't have enough joy, you don't have enough happiness or fulfilling experiences in your life, I see all of that changing. My crows have come back to visit. I hope the noise isn't bothering you guys. There's an element of emotional release, and I see you reconnecting with spirit. In the corner of the star card, there's an ibex, which is an Egyptian bird, and the symbology of this bird represents communication with spirit. So like I said in the beginning of the reading for you guys, is that I feel like you're either shaking your fist at God, or maybe you've just kind of lost your spiritual connection because life is just so hard, it didn't feel like there was room for it. But I see your spiritual connection returning tenfold. I see you feeling really good about yourself. And what feels like the catalyst for that is meditation, clearing out your headspace, and releasing those emotions. So definitely for the time being, there is nothing you can do except for continue working in the way that you are. But very soon, for some of you, it's going to be a few weeks. For some of you, a few months. For some of you, maybe an entire year, indicated by the wheel card. Something has to run its course. Something has to complete its cycle. And yeah, 1 year is definitely coming through as being like, by this time next year, you're going to feel like a completely new person. Your situation will have changed in a way that you feel refreshed and rejuvenated, but it's not going to happen if in here stays the same. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to put these cards away, and we're going to jump into another deck really quick, just for a final piece of advice from your guides and angels. So from the Osho Zen deck, Spirit team, please tap us into the collective of my pile number 2s, the pile that chose the Moustache mood ring. And what final advice, what final input do they need to hear today? Okay, at the bottom of the deck we have integration, 14. So in the tarot, this would be temperance. And temperance is the concept that everything in its due time, that we can't rush the flow of time. All we can do is make peace with where we're at and consciously co-create with spirit, with life, with the force, consciously co-create ourselves into a place of happiness and well-being and prosperity. It feels as though your headspace is very loud. I feel like there's a lot of grumble, 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 grumble happening in your headspace, and it's very hard to connect with spirit if our head is already full. So again, I can't recommend meditation enough. It's really, really going to be huge, huge, huge for you guys to get yourself on the right track. And the card that I had pulled for you is maturity. And the maturity card is coming into a place where we accept personal responsibility for where we're at energetically. I saw somebody downtown of a really big city. He was one of the happiest people I've ever seen in my entire life, and he had stumps for arms and legs. And he had set himself up with this music set. He had like drums and cymbals and a harmonica. I can't even begin to tell you how he did it. But this man was so happy and playing music and clearly just living his best life. And I stood there for quite a while going, my God, he must have dealt with some of the most insane obstacles and challenges of anyone I've ever met in my life. How is he so happy? So I'm going to leave you with that it's not so much about the cards that we're dealt in life as it is what we do with them. That we can look at our situation and go, man, everything sucks. But if we compare our situation to maybe somebody else who really, really, really has it way worse, and I'm not saying this to invalidate your experience. In any way that you're suffering, it's real. And in any way that your life feels hard, it's real. But sometimes we get stuck in a victim mentality of my stuff is harder or, you know, more challenging than other people's stuff. And that's where it's coming through, that once we embrace maturity, that we can let go of the victim mentality and we can take responsibility for our state of mind and our state of being. And that's what I see as really being the turning point for you guys, is letting go of however you used to identify with struggle or challenges and embracing a new way of looking at your life that allows you to just be more at peace with the cards that you've been dealt in this lifetime. And then it's from that place of peace, everything is going to change for you. So I wish you guys all the best. I send you all of my love. I hope that this reading resonated. I hope that this gave you the clarity that you really needed today. And I feel for you. I know how hard it is to be stuck and miserable. And I want to validate that for you, that your feelings matter, your experience matters. But if there's any way for you to make peace with your situation, that's when the tide is going to turn. So good luck. Hang in there, believe in yourselves, love yourselves unconditionally. You deserve it. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed your reading, and that way you'll be kept up to date for all my future videos. Take care, you guys. Mwah. Hello, my pile twos, or pile three, excuse me. Welcome to your reading, pile threes. You chose the gold coin. And today we're going to be taking a look at a roadmap for your life. So if you're feeling tired, exhausted, stressed out, worn out, weary, maybe you feel like you're stuck in a rut. Maybe you're questioning choices that you just made or choices that you're thinking about making. I am here to offer you a compass. And we're going to be having a look at everything that is happening for you. We're going to ask your guides and angels if you're on the right path, and if not, how can you realign yourself to be on your highest path. So Spirit Team, please tap me into the collective of my pile number 3s, the pile that chose the gold coin. Please show me a card that represents my pile number 3s. And what obstacle are they struggling with right now? What are my pile 3s leaving behind? And what are my pile 3s moving towards? Wow, okay. Big changes afoot. So pile 3s, you guys chose the gold coin, and it's interesting because, I don't know, maybe I just kind of assumed that it was going to be a reading about money, perhaps. But what's really coming through is a challenging relationship. The first card that I pulled for you is the Ace of Pentacles, which is funny. It's like a hand holding a gold coin. For some of you, it is a question of money, but it feels more like a relationship with yourself that is the biggest question here. So the Ace of Pentacles tells me that for a lot of you, your money is stable, your health is stable. There's an element of kind of like a brand new you at play here. And anytime I see an ace, that tells me that heaps and heaps and heaps of work has been done to complete a previous lesson, to close a previous chapter. And you're stepping into a place of newness, that there's a new you at play. For some of you, you've got a new job. For some of you, you've got a new home or something along those lines. And so in a lot of ways, you're feeling like you're not the old you that you used to be. But the energy around you, we've got the Death card suggesting that there's a really profound period of change happening. And like I said, this has been something that's been in the works for quite some time. And in order to birth something new, something old has to die. So what feels like a really internal process for you, yes, it's starting to manifest on the outside, whether it's a new job, a new do, a new you. The inner work had to happen first. And now that the inner work is kind of complete, what you're going through is this like ripple effect of all these external things starting to reflect change. So at the same time as something new inside of you has been birthed, your situation and everything around you is going through a period of death, because now that the inside of you has changed, a lot of things outside of you have become intolerable. So the challenge that you're dealing with right now is whether or not you feel safe to be vulnerable. Now, the Lover's card would certainly suggest a romantic relationship, but it could also suggest a bestie. It could be a lover. It could be somebody you just work really closely with, maybe a business partner. But for most of you, I'm definitely feeling like this is a relationship question. But as I said, these are general readings, so I'm going to be bringing through information for a lot of different people watching. And so every time that a new way of looking at your situation comes through, I'm going to be sharing what is coming through. So as your obstacle, when we see the Lover's card and we've got two naked people, anytime people are naked in the tarot, it represents feeling safe, that you can be your authentic self. But when I see this as an obstacle, you don't feel safe being your authentic self. Sometimes what happens when we go through a massive period of change inside of ourselves is we reach a place of awakening where we realize that the people around us aren't necessarily people that we want around us. And sometimes it's really, really hard to verbalize that, especially if we're in a committed relationship or a long-term friendship or whatever your personal case may be. I feel you being challenged. I'm also being told that some of you are not in a relationship right now, and so that's why this is coming up as an obstacle. Now you feel ready, that you feel like a new you, and you are craving or wanting to bring into your life the right person for you, in which you feel mutual affection and respect, mutual trust, mutual investment into the connection, and mutual vulnerability. That now that you have reached a place of authenticity inside of yourself, you have no tolerance for fake people in your life. What you need in your life is somebody else who's going to meet you at your level. Someone who's willing to be vulnerable, somebody who's willing to do the hard work, someone who's willing to communicate openly with clarity, with self-awareness. You need the right person in your life that's going to walk by your side through the next chapter or the next leg of your journey in life. So like I said, for some of you, you're in a relationship where you're realizing that this is not the right person. And for some of you, you're not in a relationship right now and you're wanting the right person. The message is still the same, is that whatever internal change that you've really, really worked hard at, now it's time for your external situation to match that and support that. In the past, what I've got here is an indication of lack. For some of you, the massive transformation has been really about health, about wellness, also financial prosperity. So like I said, I feel like there's this multi-factor thing happening for you. There's a lot of change happening for you, and it's been happening on a lot of different levels, like your work, your look, your friendships, your partnerships, whatever the case may be. It feels like there's a lot at play. And so in your recent past, some of you have been waiting and waiting and waiting for the people in your life to get on board, and thinking, okay, I know how to walk my highest path. Why aren't my friends coming with? Why isn't my partner coming with? So for some of you, you've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and you just can't keep waiting for everybody else to catch up. There's an element of like, should I go off on my own? Are these people ever going to meet their potential, right? The Five of Pentacles would tell me that you've also recently come out of a period of ill health. Maybe you were recently really, really struggling with money. Now the money's come through. Now the health has come through. But perhaps you feel out in the cold. Like you've got a great job, maybe you've got a great home, but you really, really want somebody to share it with. So there's definitely this feeling of like you've worked really hard to be where you're at, but in a lot of ways you almost feel more lonely. That before your awakening, you didn't notice all these things. Before your awakening, you were happy in your relationships. And now that you understand yourself better, now that you understand your life better, you're looking around going, oh man, what have I been surrounding myself by, right? The bigger picture that your guides and angels can see is that your heart is open and flowing. They want you to know that you've been working really hard to be more spiritually tuned in, more emotionally healthy, and your hard work is paying off. Your guides and angels feel like they have an open connection with you. And they are encouraging you to continue allowing those feelings to flow. Now, if we're in, say, a long-term partnership and we just keep having feelings of like, oh my God, I'm so done with this person, we might put a cork in those feelings because we don't want to cause any problems. We don't want to make any waves. But your guides and angels are trying to share with you that your emotions are a compass. If you stuff your emotions, you're going to lose direction. You're going to lose sight of where you're going. So don't hold back your emotions. Just make sure that you're releasing them or channeling them in the healthiest way possible. The Ace of Cups tells me that this is new for you. to allow your feelings to come through like this. Or maybe it's new for you to feel, maybe you're feeling more emotional than you usually do. Sometimes that happens with an awakening. Maybe you've let go of bad habits or unhealthy coping mechanisms, and so you're feeling really raw right now. Whatever rawness, whatever emotionality you're experiencing right now, your guides and angels want you to know that it is a compass that's going to lead you in the right direction. Don't go back to unhealthy coping mechanisms. The King of Pentacles shows up sometimes when we've been overdoing it with our physical reality. Maybe we don't like how emotional we're feeling, and so we drink, or we busy ourselves with things to kind of stifle those emotions. Maybe for some of you, because you haven't had healthy, nurturing relationships in your lives, for some of you, you've been just filling your life with work, with being busy, with projects, with jobs, with whatever it is. And they're saying, don't worry so much about your physical reality right now. Definitely don't try and fill emotional needs or spiritual needs with physical things. It's going to create just more of a disconnect. Allow yourself to be raw and vulnerable, because that's where your power is. So the Ace of Wands is telling us that there's a new beginning when it comes to your life force, to how you channel your energy and the direction in which you're living your life. There's an element of you kind of holding back, thinking, well, it's been like this for so long, I shouldn't change it because then I'd be a jerk, or then I'd hurt somebody's feelings. Whatever situation you're in, if it's a romantic situation, maybe you've been single for a really long time, maybe you've been at a job for a really long time, there's definitely an element of things have been this way for so long, who am I to make a change? Or is it even possible to make a change? But your heart and your spirit are telling you right now that now is the time to act, and you're not going to be able to hide your feelings. It's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger until you take control, you make a decision, and you choose a direction. So the path that you're walking is leading you to a place of bliss. But I'm going to be really honest with you guys. There's some sort of breakdown or breakup in your future. So the Tower card here is of a light, what we see in the picture is a lightning bolt hitting a tower and people flying off of it. I have a different deck where a woman has a magic wand, and the tower is represented by the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And she's like, yeah, I tore it down as it's crumbling. The tower represents anything that has been in existence for a long time in our lives, whether it's a relationship or a job or a long-term friendship, because the tower represents that something has been built. It's been built and it's been built, and it's a long-term thing. When the tower comes crashing down, just like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the metaphor that I like to use is, if we discover that something we're building in real life is crooked, we would not continue building. We would go, damn it. And we'd tear it down and we'd start over, and we'd make sure that the foundation is solid and balanced, right? So if we apply that metaphor to our lives, that there's something in your life, it's a relationship, a job, a friendship, whatever it is, maybe it's been you being single for a really long time, whatever has been built, and maybe it's walls around yourself to keep you safe. The metaphor of the wall is that it's time to bring it down. It's time to tear down the wall. It's time to tear down this crooked structure in your life in order to make way for something new and something that's going to be way healthier and way better. So maybe you've been hiding yourself from the world because of past experiences, or maybe you just didn't have time for a relationship. If you're single, it's time to tear down that wall. If you're in a relationship that is not supporting the growth and the trajectory of health and healing that you've been on, if you're in a relationship that's holding you back, it's time to take it down. If you've been in a job for a really long time, and it's not where you want to be anymore, it's time to make a change. If you've been struggling with addiction or eating too much or drinking too much or whatever way that you've been physically trying to fill emotional and spiritual needs, it's time to cut that out. So the Tower card, I'm not gonna lie, it's a card of like kind of blowing something out of the water, breakdowns, breakups, hitting your limit and going, I can't do this anymore. Now, ideally, we recognize the change and we make that change in a mature and as graceful as possible way. But sometimes what happens is if we ignore the change needs to be made and we just go, it's fine, whatever, whatever. Eventually life, universe, the force brings in a wrecking ball or a lightning bolt and makes that change for us. So when I see the Tower, I consider it a blessing and a gift to know that some major is coming up for you. And if you intentionally bring that down, if you intentionally bring down those walls or tear down that crooked structure that you've been building, it will be far more gentle than if you wait and you wait and you wait till the last minute and everything just blows up. Now, on the other side of this Tower moment is the Sun. And the Sun is such a beautiful, beautiful, blissful card. It's about feeling rejuvenated, re-stoked on life, feeling like a kid again. And what we have is a small child on the back of a white horse, carrying a red banner. Now, the red banner indicates that something major had to happen, and often it comes down to self-preservation or having to simply choose ourselves in an unhealthy situation. The baby represents new beginnings, and the white horse represents a new path that is far more aligned to our highest good. It's a path of purity and cleansing and health and well-being. We also have sunflowers pictured in the Sun card, indicating that it's really, really important for you to follow your light and be mindful that anywhere there is light, a shadow is going to be cast. And we have to acknowledge that life is a combination of light and shadows. Don't be afraid of your shadow. Follow your light and make whatever decision that you know is coming before some sort of catastrophe makes that decision for you. The path that's opening up for you, you've been in a place of contemplation and introspection for quite some time. Maybe you've been slowly building up your skill set so you can make a shift in your career. Maybe you've been prioritizing your mental health and healing and perhaps even spirituality, and you've gone through a metamorphosis like a butterfly. And maybe now you're a butterfly looking back at the caterpillar people in your life going, we just aren't on the same page. We just don't understand each other. And as much as you want to bring people with you, every person has to do that for themselves. Seven of Cups tells me that you've been having to really focus on your own priorities, your own dreams, your own emotional health, and that this internal process for you has been going on for quite some time. That's why it's now spilling over into a new beginning that's becoming all-encompassing in your life. The roadmap for the moment here is that the answers you seek are deep within yourself, that you know deep within yourself what it is that you want, but you're kind of holding yourself back because either of the people in your life that you don't want to leave behind, or maybe you feel like you're on your own and you're wondering if there's any people out there that are going to support your growth or, resonate with you. There's definitely an element of loneliness on your path. But the fear that you're experiencing, the emotional upheaval that you're experiencing, everything that's coming through is that your emotions are a compass, and your emotions are empowering you to make the choices and make the changes that your spirit really needs right now. It's a path that only you can walk. And I keep getting this sense that you know that you have to do something on your own or you have to complete the final steps of what has been a journey on your own. And you're about to enter a period of transformation and initiation. But it's like you're almost afraid to walk that final step because you know when you do, there's no going back. But you know that's what has to happen. And it's just about kind of making peace with that. What's just around the corner in your future, we have the Fool card. And the Fool card is feeling absolutely free, like a huge weight has been lifted. Like you're finally able to speak your truth, or you're finally able to be silly, or you're finally able to just kind of go your own way. Someone is holding you back. It might be you. It might be a partner that you've kind of parted ways with or grown out of love from. But when you set off on your own and create a fresh slate, a new start for yourself, all of a sudden, you're going to understand what everything has been leading to. So your spirit team is with you 110%. They want you to know that the messages you've been picking up on are real. The feelings that you've been feeling are very important. The way that you've been connecting with spirit, whether it's dreams, whether it's journaling, whether it's just feeling inspired or feeling guided, it's real. So continue prioritizing your relationship with yourself and your relationship with spirit. You are definitely on the right path, but I understand why you're afraid to make these final decisions. It feels scary, but on the other side of your fear is the most beautiful, beautiful, bright new beginning, the sunshine of your life. So as you move forwards, at the bottom of the deck here, we have the Six of Wands, which is just a gentle reminder to be mindful of the energy that you bring to a situation. No one likes the vibe of, I'm enlightened, you're just not good enough for me, right? We can't take our spiritual growth and tie it into ego. The two are mutually exclusive. Like, there's no way. It's like oil and water. So for you to continue walking your highest path, be mindful of the energy that you bring to the season of closure in your life. Remember to approach any goodbyes with dignity, honor, and compassion. And it doesn't mean holding yourself back for the sake of other people, but if you must break up with someone, do it respectfully. If you must leave a job, do it respectfully. If you would like to enter into a period of maybe looking for a relationship after a long period of not being in one, this would be a suggestion to be really, really mindful how you go about doing that. You know, some dating apps are really just for the physical connection and nothing more. And what I feel, you single people out there, what I feel for you is you want a spiritual connection. And the way that you're going to find that is by doing things that make you happy and then meeting someone else who's also doing those things. I don't feel that it's going to come through a dating app. I don't feel like any of those kind of lower vibration things are going to help you get to where you want to be. So just the final thing from your guides and angels today is just be really, really mindful about the energy that you bring into a situation. Just because you have elevated your energy doesn't mean you're better than anyone. So just maintain that energy of being humble and respectful. Even if you feel like a butterfly talking to caterpillar people, you got to stay humble. I hope that makes sense. So what we're going to do before we close this reading is I'm going to use the Osho Zen deck. And we're just going to ask your guides and angels for any final advice as you move forwards. Spirit team, please tap us into our pile number 3, is the pile that chose the gold coin. What do they need to hear right now to help them align with their highest path? Oh, okay. They're telling me we're done. At the bottom of the deck, we have awareness. So this would equate to the Chariot card in the tarot, and it's a sense that you've made peace with both your light and your shadow. The momentum you've been waiting for, the movement, the open door that you've been waiting for, it's right here, it's right now. All you have to do is step through that door. And what is being asked of you is that some people or some things or some aspect of who you used to be is going to be left behind. And there's an element of grief. There's an element of almost like fear of change. But everything that's coming through is that you're ready. And now is the time. The cards that I pulled for you, we have Creativity, which is the equivalent of the Empress, and the Rebel, which is the equivalent of the Emperor. So very Mars, but also very Venus energy. You have really worked hard to balance the positive and negative within you, as well as the masculine and the feminine. And now you are in a place of no definition. It's definitely a clean slate in which you have very, very balanced energy, very healthy intentions, and a really positive reality unfolding in front of you. The Rebel is the breaker of chains, that there's some sort of final piece of your puzzle, something that has chained you down, be it a person, a job, a role in your life. There's some final piece that you're letting go of and saying, I wish to be chained down no longer. And then I'm done. And now it's time for you to be free. You are birthing a new reality. You are creating a new life for yourself. For some of you, it means leaving behind people who are just not on the same page as you. And for some of you, it means inviting in new people in your life that are going to support you and encourage you as you continue to walk this healthy path moving forwards. I see you as being really, really, really balanced in a very healthy way. 3 and 4 add up to 7, and here's 7. Spirit is with you. Just make sure to slow down, and every single step that you take moving forwards, make sure that it is intentional. Make sure that you're being mindful of the energy within you and also around you, and make sure to continue putting into practice all of the important things that you've learned recently. You've got this. I'm excited for you. I hope that this reading helped. I hope that it resonated and gave you the clarity that you were hoping for. Make sure to like and subscribe so that you're updated with all my future videos, and I wish you guys all the very best. Mwah! Thanks for being here. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Hi Pile 4s, welcome to your reading. Today you guys chose the key, and we're going to be taking a look at a roadmap for your life. Whether you feel stuck, whether you feel stagnant, whether you feel stressed out and exhausted, whatever's happening for you, if there's a question of, am I on the right path? Where am I going? What is this leading to? We're taking a look at a roadmap for your life. Are you ready? So, Spirit Team, please tap me into the collective of my pile number 4s. And what is the energy around them? Spirit Team, please tap me into the collective of my pile number 4s. What are my pile 4s letting go of? And what are they moving into? What is their highest path? What is the pathway opening up for them? How interesting. So for you guys, pile 4, I feel as though you recently made a big change and now you're wondering, oh my God, did I make the right choice? Um, there's an energy of disappointment. There's an energy of feeling emotionally exhausted. And there's an energy of really questioning yourself and questioning where you're at. The very bottom here, I have the first card is the Two of Pentacles. So what I see in this card is that you recently made some big choices. You made some big changes, and you thought that it was going to improve your situation. But so far, it's only caused turmoil. Your emotions are like a roller coaster. There's a sense of like not having any idea, oh my God, like where are you going? And like, why does life feel more chaotic now than it did before? So let's take a look at everything else that's happening. You did make a choice that your goal, the energy that you were seeking and hoping to cultivate, was emotional safety. The Six of Cups talks about really, really protecting our heart and protecting our peace. And for some of you, this means that you invited into your life a new person. For some of you, you took on new responsibilities. Maybe it's a new job. There is an element of you just recently brought something in to your life, but you're not exactly sure whether or not it was the healthiest choice for you. Your goal was emotional safety, and I really feel like your intentions were good. But the obstacle happening here is of a quickening, that you're more stressed out, that you're more anxious, that you're more depressed, and you're feeling alone with your situation. The Nine of Swords is suffering in silence, and the Eight of Wands is almost like a tornado of energy around you. And I feel like in a lot of ways, you know, you shot your arrow and you're hoping to reach this target, but something about your current situation feels off. It feels overwhelming. Maybe you didn't realize how exhausting these changes were going to be. Maybe, yeah, I feel an energy of regret. I feel an energy of questioning. I feel an energy of like, have I done the right thing, right? And at the bottom of the deck, we have the Five of Cups, which tells me that for whatever reason, you're really, really, you can't let go of the things that are not working out for you. What's interesting in the Five of Cups is that we have 3 cups spilled, but 2 cups are just fine. And so your guides and angels are like, you know, it's not all bad. But if you have laser-like focus on the things that aren't working out, it's going to be really hard for you to see all the things that are working out. I feel like what you left behind was joy, it was play, it was fun in the sun. Maybe you've just returned to work after having a vacation. Maybe you have taken on so much work that there's no room for joy or play in your life anymore. For whatever reason, you're looping around this perspective of the good times are behind me. That like that the joy is in the past, the happy memories are in the past. When I see the Six of Cups, that tells me in a lot of ways you're feeling nostalgic, you're feeling homesick, you're feeling like you want to return to better times, but what's happening in front of you feels exhausting, feels stressful, feels almost intolerable. For some of you, you're kind of lost in your head that your current reality is so hard that you keep going back to happy memories, or maybe you're just disassociating because you don't know what else to do. Trust me, we have many periods of good times and really challenging times. When I see the Three of Cups and the Sun in your past, yes, you had some incredible times in the past, but it doesn't mean everything's bad right now. We can't live in a place of bliss and ecstasy all the time. It's exhausting. We balance out in the natural world light and dark, you know, day and night, sun and rain, right? And so it's the same in your life. that things can't stay like super awesome all the time. It's just not the nature of things. And just because you're going through a period of things feeling challenging right now does not necessarily mean that you're on the wrong path. It just means that a little bit of acceptance, a little bit of a tolerance, and making peace with your situation might be what's required right now. You definitely sacrificed your freedom for something. And it looks as though you've gained money, you've gained some sort of status perhaps. Maybe you're in a better home, maybe you're in a better job. Right here, right now, you are feeling the effects of a choice that you already made. So I don't see any need for more choices or more change or more movement. What I see is that the time for making changes is over. What you're being invited to do right now is just chill. Just chill. And I know it's probably easier said than done, but I'm going to just be straight up with the message that's coming through. The Fool in your recent past tells me that you had a new beginning. You felt free. You felt fully in touch with spirit. You felt so aligned and so on the right path. And right now, you're in a place of, is this really where things are going? Sometimes we initiate change and in our minds we're like, oh, it's gonna happen right away. And then after a couple weeks, couple months, we're like, still waiting. When's the good times gonna happen? You know, and I feel that questioning, right? I also feel, so I want to show you the Nine of Pentacles here. She has a hunting bird, and the hunting bird has a hood on. And what that represents is that the hunting bird is off duty. You are off duty. There is nothing for you to seek. There is nothing for you to pursue. There is nowhere for you to go. The snail, there's a tiny snail at the bottom of the card. Yeah, things move painfully slow right now. I totally get that you feel stuck. I totally get that you feel like you're kind of having to live with whatever choices you made, and maybe the money's better, maybe the housing's better, you know, like, but for whatever reason inside you're feeling this sense of conflict. So especially because the Five of Cups, where we had 3 cups spilled but 2 cups are fine, your spirit team is seeing that you're looking on the negative side, that you're unreasonably focused on the things that you're not happy about, and as a result you're not quite seeing, or maybe you're ignoring, or maybe you're just brushing off all the things that are awesome in your life right now. Whatever it was that you did, you're leveling up. When we see the Nine of Pentacles, we see somebody dressed to the nines. That your life is substantially better. Your quality of life, your surroundings, maybe it's referring to your health, it could be referring to your money, your income, your home, whatever it is about your situation, really overall things are better. But because there are some, I'm going to validate for you, there's some stuff that you're not happy about, and what's happening is you're kind of perseverating around that and not taking a moment to be grateful for all that's worked out for you. So the bigger picture that your guides and angels can see is, number one, you're on the right path. Number one thing they want you to know, yes, you're on your right path. The Wheel of Fortune comes up indicating that you took advantage of a fated opportunity. You recently made a choice. That choice is playing out. And even though you're not feeling very stoked right now, you are on the right path. There's an element of you need to kind of wait for things to continue to play out. Wait through this season of your life. You know, like maybe things don't feel like super awesome right now, but in the grand scheme of things, life isn't usually going to feel super awesome all the time. You know, this is a very summertime vibe, and where I feel you right now is kind of like in a wintertime kind of energy, or fall and winter, like you're reaping your harvest, you're preparing for what feels like maybe some inevitable difficulties or some challenges that you're working through, but there's a season to everything. And it doesn't mean that you suck. It doesn't mean that your life sucks. It just means that you're going through a period of change right now, and there's an element of just kind of having to wait out that change. Paired with the Wheel of Fortune card was the Ten of Wands. And the Ten of Wands, represents when we feel just really, really overwhelmed. Maybe you've taken on too much. Maybe your energy, maybe you feel kind of out of your body, or like the energy in your life is really overwhelming. You don't know how to handle your stress. Maybe you don't know how to handle all your responsibilities. But when we see the Ten of Wands, he's carrying this bundle of sticks, and this person has their face covered because they're carrying so much that they can't even see the steps in front of them. So if you feel like you can't see what's coming out of this, if you feel like you can't see your next best steps and you're feeling kind of lost in the fog, questioning everything, the advice is to let go. Let go of control. Let go of knowing how things are going to turn out. Let go of all the responsibilities that you're carrying, in the sense of letting go of worrying about what other people think. Let go of anything that's not truly your responsibility to feel or to carry or to look after. Of course, a lot of our responsibilities we can't let go of. Our job, our kids, whatever the case may be. But the Ten of Wands would suggest that not everything that you're carrying is truly yours to carry. And it could be the burden of other people's expectations. It could be you're just one of those helpful people that takes on way too much. Only you know. But your guides and angels want you to know that even though you can't see your path unfolding, your guides and angels can, and they want to assure you that you're on the right track. What is coming out of this is, it could really go two ways. Because when I see the Page of Wands here, he's standing in a desert and he's looking at this stick. And out of the entire landscape of a desert, leaves are sprouting out of the stick, out of the wand. And the key word for this card is where our attention goes, our energy flows. Whatever it is you choose to focus on, whether it's the things that aren't working out, or whether it's the stress that you feel, or maybe you're choosing to focus on news that really just distracts you or stresses you out, there's an element of feeling like you're focusing really, really hard on something, and ultimately it's not in your highest good. Ultimately, whatever it is that you're focusing on right now is just perpetuating a feeling of emotional exhaustion. And if you want to stabilize your emotional health, it's not that you need to make any changes. It's simply that you need to look up. Instead of looking so intently at this, whatever's stressing you out, you're being invited to look up, look around, take in your environment, take in more information, take in more energy, open your mind, open your heart. If you're not satisfied with where you're at, look for a new way to fill your cup. There's a need for stabilizing and grounding your emotional health, and it's something that only you can do on your own. You can't always co-regulate with a partner. You can't always, have your therapist on speed dial, right? To a certain extent, you need to take responsibility for how you feel. And it's going to come with the realization that it all comes down to what you choose to focus on. If you choose to focus on the cups that spilled, damn right, you're going to be really disappointed, right? But if you choose to focus on the 2 cups that are all right and they're still good, and maybe there's more wine to fill up those cups with, right? If you choose to focus on, the things that are working out well for you, you can catalyze a shift in your energy in the direction of gratitude. And when we are in a more positive or more grateful headspace, that's when we feel like, oh, okay, new ideas are coming through, or I just feel more at peace with my situation, or you know what I mean? But when we're stuck in, oh man, that sucks, we don't see new options. We don't see how life could be great. We get so focused on what's not working out that we get stuck there. So the thing that your guides and angels can see is that you're stuck, but you're making yourself stuck. It's not all bad. In fact, there's a lot of really awesome stuff happening for you. And if you can take responsibility for your emotional health and simply choose to focus on something else, you're going to feel a million times better, and you're going to realize that overall your situation's fine, but there's an internal, there's a question of stability, there's a question of health, and there's a question of being grounded. What's coming through is around the corner, you're either going to feel better about your situation, indicated by the Four of Wands, or you're going to make yourself so miserable you're going to tear everything down to the ground. It all depends on what you choose to focus on. So if you keep in mind that ultimately the goal is an improvement in mental health, an improvement in emotional health, and you take responsibility for what you think and you take responsibility for how you feel, you're going to see really clearly that there are two paths diverging. Now, the purpose of this reading was to offer you a roadmap, and that's what I'm doing right here. If you focus on making peace with your situation, taking responsibility for your emotional health, maybe meditate, maybe journal, whatever it is to help you get out of this negative mindset, you're going to feel a whole lot better just around the corner. But if you continue to focus on the things that you're upset about, you're going to either push yourself to a mental breakdown, or you're going to lose your cool in a very not good moment to lose your cool, leading to a breakdown, break up, but possibly even a breakthrough. There's definitely two diverging roads, and I'm being asked to remind you guys that toxic positivity is not healthy. We can't genuinely be disgruntled about something and go, it's fine, it's cool, it's good, I'm gonna look on the bright side. Because what you're doing is you're stuffing your feelings, and they're gonna come out eventually, right? So what I'm conveying, what you're being invited to do, is go ahead and write things out. Maybe start with all the things that you're upset about. And then when you've gotten it out of your system, write on a piece of paper, write on 3 pieces of paper. When you get it out of your system, take some deep cleansing breaths, and then write a list of all the things that are awesome in your life. Because when I see the 9 of Pentacles, it doesn't feel as though anything major needs to change. It feels more just like you're stuck in a loop as far as your emotional autopilot and your perspective on things. Everything I'm being shown is, yes, you have valid reasons to be not stoked right now, but with patience, with acceptance, you can get yourself to a place where those things don't bug you as much. You know, not your circus, not your monkeys. It'll resolve. You can kind of let go of it. But if you get all twisted up, you're going to want to do things that are not within your honorable path. It's interesting the message is coming through, and I really hope it makes sense, because it feels as though you're kind of treading this line of like, well, I could say something, I could do something, I could intervene, but if you were to do so, it would be stepping outside of your boundaries. And there's an element of kind of having to leave the situation because it's somebody else's business, it's somebody else's drama, it's somebody else's stuff, right? If you look after yourself, and again, it feels as though your healthiest path right now is to be alone, to live your life, to focus on your career and your well-being, your happiness, all of that. that there's an element of, you know, maybe you have somebody in your life that's just like a dumpster fire right now. And as much as you love them, as much as you care about them, if you try and jump in and save them or fix them or anything like that, you're going to end up lost. You're going to end up miserable. But if you choose instead to surround yourself with people who encourage you to walk your highest path, if you carefully choose to engage with people and with situations that support your highest path and your ultimate expression of your life force, you're going to be really, really happy with who you surround yourself with. There's big changes happening. You've made a decision and it is in your highest good. If you made a decision to leave somebody behind and you're feeling torn up because, yes, there were good times in the past, but right now is not good, right now is valid. You have to make the best decision you possibly can with the information you have at hand, right? There's no going back to the good times. There's no recreating that. There's going to be good times ahead, but possibly with a new person, possibly in a completely new situation. I feel like some of you are moving. Some of you have already moved. It's like there's a lot of, and it's funny tuning into the collective, but there's, even though there's multiple different people and multiple different time streams, there's a common theme happening here. Like, you already made your decision and there's no going back and changing it. I feel you being tempted to go back and change it. Don't. You are on the right path. And even if you can sense that whatever decision you made is going to have a ripple effect, and maybe there's going to be one final blowout where you have to reaffirm, no, this is my boundary. Nope, I want space, or I'm doing this alone, or whatever the case may be. Your guides and angels want you to know to take things one day at a time. And if your energy or your ideas are 10 steps ahead, you've got to come back and be here now. Reconnect with nature. Focus on what you're grateful for. But like I said, let out the yuck. Write out the yuck. Sing about it. Yell about it in an honorable setting, of course. Don't yell at somebody, but create the space in which you can release everything that's inside of you, because I'm definitely feeling like you're really, really overwhelmed right now. You're on the right path. Your mental health is going to improve. But you need to continue the momentum that you're already in. Don't go back. Don't change your mind. Don't shoot yourself off in a new direction. It's like you've got momentum happening right now. Let it play out. It's going to be slow. There's a part of you that's going to want it to be done way faster, but you need to let this play out. I feel like there's somebody in your life that's about to like have their own blowout, but you can't jump in and save them. You have to look after yourself. And if looking after yourself means creating distance from them, then that's what it is. And maybe you're afraid of being alone. Maybe you're afraid of all this change that's coming through, but you can do it. You're strong enough. You deserve to be at peace. And you definitely made the right choice for you. So if a choice that's right for you is making somebody reach for you or cling for you or try and put their hooks into you, do whatever it takes to create that energy of self-preservation. You're on the right track, but keep being healthy, keep being grounded, make sure to eat as well as you can, get as much restful sleep as you can, meditate, drink lots of water, and definitely be gentle. Be gentle with yourself. And if you feel like putting your phone on do not disturb, that is okay. That is an acceptable boundary. The word no is also an acceptable boundary. I definitely feel a lot of turmoil from you. But your guides and angels seem pretty sure that even though you don't know where this is going, they know where this is going, and it is in a good direction. It's all going to work out, but there's a little bit of an emotional or spiritual fall and winter that you're about to go through. So just prepare yourself. Be as healthy as you possibly can and take things one day at a time. The final piece of advice from your guides and angels, we're going to be using the Osho Zen deck. So Spirit Team, please tap us into the collective of our pile number 4s, the pile that chose the key. And any final guidance, this one too, okay. Any final guidance that they need to hear right now? What do my pile number 4s need to hear right now? The collective that chose the key. Awesome. This is a period of rebirth. Birth is messy. Birth is painful. You are being reborn. And if you feel like you're in pain, that's valid. If you feel like this is a really messy process, that's valid. But trust that you are being reborn. And trust that you are the ultimate manifester and ultimate creator of your life. Keep focusing on how to just be the healthiest individual that you can be, and whatever you need to do to shut out other people's opinions or other people's expectations, do it. It's not about them, it's about you. Your guides and angels want to be able to validate for you that you are flowering, you're blooming, you're blossoming. You are changing forms, and your life is changing forms as well. It takes a lot of compost, it takes a lot of poop for a flower to grow, and you are blooming out of the muck. You have decided to make the best of a really challenging situation and perhaps even go your own way. But what you are doing is going to result in the love, the happiness, the health, the peace that you're aiming for. You're on the right track. The Fool card is also an indication that you might be wondering, are you being foolish? Well, you're taking a leap of faith and you're trusting that the universe is going to look after you, and maybe an outsider calls that foolish, but you're guided. You are embracing divine timing. You are taking responsibility for yourself and your life and your well-being. And it's going to lead to a fresh start and a clean slate. And very, very soon, you're going to feel as though your burden has been lifted. You're going to feel lighter. You're going to feel freer. But these things take time to kind of come into fruition. You've made the right choice. Don't go backwards. Don't worry about how fast you're moving forwards. Just be here now with awareness. Definitely, maybe music is going to be really cathartic for you right now. Maybe art, maybe journaling, maybe talking to a therapist. Whatever it is that you need to do, tune inwards, self-awareness. Your shadow is going to be really loud right now, but there's an opportunity to cultivate a balance between your shadow and your light. All the emotions that are coming through are a compass. Don't feel as though you have to do something with all the emotions that come through. You can simply observe them and then release them. Meditation, especially any kind of guided meditation, might be especially helpful for you right now. It feels like you're really raw. It feels like you're feeling really vulnerable and perhaps even torn. But I am being made to feel as though a lot led to where you're at right now. And the overwhelming message is let it play out. Just let it play out, no matter what other people's reactions are, no matter what anybody else has to say about the matter. Just let it play out, and you'll be really, really happy with where you end up. Be gentle with yourself. In a time of rebirth, it could feel messy, it could feel scary, it could feel overwhelming, but there are beautiful things on the other side of this experience. So I wish you all the very best. I send you all of my love. I hope that this reading resonated and gave you the clarity and insight that you were hoping for. If you liked your reading, make sure to like and subscribe so that you're kept up to date with all my future videos. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Mwah! Thanks for being here. I'll see you next time.